A while ago, you know, like when I made sucky videos, which is like now and like 2 years ago, I wanted to do dungeons, but to use no armor. But people have already done that. Then I was going to do no weapons, but then Igobylotsofnames already did that. How do people be original? Jesus. Anyway, I was just thinking, I'm like, why don't I just do both? Now with no swords, you know, you deal no damage, but you could tank a bunch of damage. With no armor, you deal a bunch of damage, but you tank no damage. So theoretically, if we had no armor or weapons, we would be weak in everything. Because Igobylotsofnames has the most subscribers, I watched his whole video, and I seem to figure out the rules of this little challenge. Now for armor, it's simple, just don't use armor. But with weapons, it could kind of get complicated. You see, hitting the enemy with a sword, yeah, you can't do that. You can't also do any mage related attacks. So no icicle, no vampire witch mask, no Midas spoon, or literally anything. Only abilities that are allowed are passive abilities, like, you know, healing, teleporting. Abilities that don't say they do damage work. Anyway, with the rules in mind, I'm going to get onto my setup. For my pet, I had a guardian. Now originally I was going to use a blue whale pet, but I kind of sold it the day before because I didn't know I'd be recording this. So I spent like 8 mil on a guardian pet and I put a textbook on it. It's on the Now for weapons, we had to think outside of the box. See, Igobylotsofnames is punched and also use traps, which can do a lot of damage, but are kind of expensive, and you can only place 5 of them. Anyway, I kind of remember this one item that was cool for like the first week, but then no one used it. Necromancy. Well, people still used it, but menacing banana said it's dead, so I'm totally gonna believe him. The summoning ring itself doesn't do damage, so according to the rules, this actually counts. Anyway, on to our next weapon. It's the fell sword. Sword that is known to be broken, that just doesn't work at all. Like not the speed silver OP kind of broken. No, this, it doesn't work. So if you're playing healer and if you right click and you accidentally hit a mob, oh look, it does damage, and a lot of it. And since this technically doesn't tell us it'll do damage, and it's not intended, it works! And if you're mad that it comes from a sword, you can just use a dungeon orb. I just like a fell sword just because it reminds me of a gun, my favorite object. So now we knew how to attack, we had a problem. How would we defend? We have so little EHP that a single Wither Skull from Bonzo can instantly kill us. Like the only defensive item in the game is a Wither Cloak sword. But there are a couple problems with it. You can't attack while using the sword, so it's only for defense. And no, we did not become invincible with it. That would be cool, but we aren't stepping that low. Anyway, while we prepped, we got a team ready. Together, we would finally be the entrance floor. At first, the entrance floor was like a mosh pit, like a bunch of mobs everywhere. You didn't know who was an ally or who was the enemy. So I just randomly shot my snowball and hoped to hit someone. Anyway, every now and then I would get armor, and it would just remind me all this stuff I could have had. Like, oh, but by wearing this one pair of pants, I could probably tank 3 hits instead of 1. I refused. You know what you shouldn't refuse? To subscribe, because we're 4 months since this video. I won't tell you again. Okay, anyway. Before this, we didn't have a plan. I was just starting to use my fell sword as an actual weapon, because before I was just healing. But now I actually use it as its main purpose, a sniper. And then the first boss appeared. A Holy Lost Adventure. All of us summoned undeads, and let's just say that it went quicker. Way quicker than expected. And since we're moving in a pack, we kind of just decided to do the Angry Archaeologist. And I mean, he survived 30 seconds. That's not that bad. Now the mini boss for this floor is actually the Blood Room, and it was actually pretty hard. Their attacks would either 1 or 2 tap us, so we couldn't necessarily tank them, we'll just have to like kind of go in, then go out. Got pushed back so far, we had to go to the ferry room multiple times, but we eventually overcame it. And just like that, the entrance was done. But this was not the beginning. Floor 1 was a real beast. You see, the thing about the entrance floor is that during the blood room, you could kind of like run through the whole entire catacombs, like, while fighting the boss. So, you know, you could get healed, you know, you could use the terrain towards your advantage. For Bonzo, yeah, you get like 8 pillars. I'm not going to focus on like the blood room too much, but for Bonzo, the first phase, well, at first, it was like pretty easy, and we thought we could do this easily, which was wrong. See, when Bonzo isn't hit for like some time, like let's say like 10 seconds, he heals 3000 HP per second. That's the same amount of damage we deal to him per hit, and it didn't help that all of us were extremely squishy to the point of us getting one-tapped and us immediately spawning and dying. And I didn't even know what happened. We somehow made it on the second phase, right? And we all summoned our undead, and we somehow beat him. I think the giant had enough attack damage that it just one-shot, well, not one-shot Bonzo, but like every single undead just went on him, and he died. And just like that, we somehow beat him. Now, Bonzo was a villain, but Scarf was a super villain. Let's just say that it was very hard. First, we had to kill the priest, but we accidentally killed like some of the other people. This is actually like the first time I saw like the archer and mage attack, because most of the time we'll just like rush through it, but we couldn't do that. And no matter how hard we tried, we couldn't get past this phase, because this floor required planning, which was something that we didn't have. Yeah, Bonzo one-tapped us, these guys one-tapped us. Currently, we have been unable to beat him without armor or swords, but we have beat him without armor just to take out our anger. Anyway, this will most likely be a series, probably up to floor 3, because I cannot see ourselves doing floor 4. Yeah, I might make new videos of this probably by next year. I'm not too sure. Anyway, goodbye. Oh my god, I spent so much more money doing this. How did I... Why?